I know we are well into the second week of January, and people may have already started to allow their New Year's resolutions to slip through their fingers, but I have only just now finished completing my goal journal for 2025. I have a plan of doing 25 goals for 2025, and I would love to do a flip through video of said journal. Flip through videos are my bread and butter on this channel. I love doing them and never pass up an opportunity to do one. In case this is the first video of mine that you've come across, I'm Wallace Kinney, but you can call me Wallissimo. I am a published author. My book, A Dark and Secret Magic, came out with Alcove Press on October 8th of last year. If you are a witchy Halloween girl, and as we are in the depths of winter, we're wishing instead that it was the time of fire-colored leaves, go ahead and check out A Dark and Secret Magic. But if you are more of a winter time Yuletide girl, I've got good news for you. That is the book that I'm currently working on, and the majority of my videos for the upcoming year will likely be documenting my journey as I get ready to turn a draft in of that new book into my publisher. If either of those sound interesting to you, go ahead and feel free to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any updates from me. I'm trying to upload 100 videos this year, so hopefully I will be in your subscription feed quite often. But now, with all that being said, let's go to an overhead view and start the journal flip through. All right, here is the bullet journal that I am using as my main goal journal for 2025. If you watched my recent video about my reading journal for 2025, you will not be surprised to know that this journal is from the same company as that one. It's from Notebook Therapy, and it is part of their Sunlit Mystery Collection, which I have here. I have the kind of keepsake box that this journal came in, and on the inside of this box I just have some extra washi tapes and some stickers that I was using while making this journal. And of course I am going to open this up very soon, but just in case anybody was curious, I have to the side the most used materials that I used during the creation of this journal. So we have a trusty pair of scissors, several mild liners that fit the color scheme of the Sunlit Mystery vibe, a couple of graphic fine liners in 0.4 and 0.2, a pencil, some Stabilo pens in the same color scheme that I chose for the mild liners just to try and keep things consistent in the journal itself, a ruler to help me with those straight lines, although as you will see I was not always successful in that endeavor and often my lines are a little wonky, an eraser, and this pack of washi tape from Notebook Therapy, again part of their Sunlit Mystery collection. All of these washi tapes I believe are used in the journal, so you will get to see them on display. But with all of that being said, I'm gonna zoom you in just a scooch and we're gonna open her up. Apologies for any odd lighting in this video. I'm just gonna have to make do with what I have. It's winter time, and so I'm not quite getting the natural sunlight that I typically get at this time of day. So I apologize for these two bright spots right here. Hopefully they're not too distracting. All right, let's go ahead and look at the outside very quickly. We've got very beautiful starlight decals on the side here. As you can see, she has already been put to good use. She's already kind of getting mucky, and I don't mind that. I like things that show their wear and tear over time. It, you know, is a reminder that I didn't just put all this effort into creating this journal and then let it sit on my desk for an entire year without going into it. And then of course on the front we have a beautiful sun and stars. And I don't know how to describe the texture of the fabric that is on this journal, but I'm gonna scratch my nail across it so that way you can get an idea. There you go. That's the sound it makes. Hopefully with that sound you now know exactly what the texture feels like. I find that typically helps for me. All right. This is the opening page. I wrote that it belongs to me. I added a little sticker here that says 2025, and then a late edition last night I added this row of sun faces stickers. I'll hold it up once again so you can kind of get a better view and look at all the ways that They're illuminated. This Sunlight Mystery set came with several sheets of stickers. I tried to set a task for myself that I was going to use up all the stickers as opposed to let them just sit in a drawer for over a year, especially because where else am I gonna use stickers like this? So you're gonna find throughout the pages of this journal that stickers are a little strangely placed, almost desperately placed, if you will, and you know what? That's fine. All right, this is the title page that I created. It's very busy. I'm gonna just say that right off the bat. We've got washi tape, we've got stickers, we've got a big banner right here. We've got 10 different types of font, but I don't hate it. It's fine. My last year's journal, oh, do I have that? My journal last year had a much cleaner introductory page. It feels a little more polished, a little more professional. The reason for that is that I straight up copied this page off of something I saw on Pinterest. So another girly pop design made this design and I just was like, oh, I love that, I'm taking it. This was all me, baby. This was my creative expression. And as we can see, I'm not great. It's a maximalist page, but with a simple task, and that is to tell us what this book is about and to give my word of the year. So very clearly we have stated that it's goals 25 and 25. And then I wrote this quote, among the clouds and mountains, I seek enrichment, because enrichment is my word of the year. I go over that in my reading journal video, but again, I wanted a word this year that encouraged me to seek out enriching additions to my life. I'm ready to step out and go a little outside my comfort zone, which you're gonna see with some of these goals. Let's be so for real. So this is my list of goals. It also serves as a bit of an index. Now, I will say that there are a couple of goals on here that don't have pages in the book, just because I didn't see the point of it, and I will go over those at the end. I do think that this page is nice, even in its busyness. I do like and appreciate the cohesiveness of the colors, the way that the washi tapes, even though they're different patterns, they do go together. I think they're very pretty. I especially love this one. I just think that's so lovely. Anyway, you're getting a bit of a spoiler for what some of the goals are if you want to pause here and just see the general goal list. These are my 25 goals for 2025. The way I have it set up is a column for a checkbox, a place to write the goal, a place to write the day I've started. As you can see, there are several goals I've already started working on. The place in which I'm being very optimistic, in which I end and accomplish the goal, and any very small notes that I can think of to put in here. And now that you see the goal list, let's get into the individualized pages themselves. Oh wait, no. First is ideal week. This has already changed. I had this idea because of the stickers that came in the set. As you can see here, one of the sticker sheets had days of the week, and I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to use these? And I decided to make myself an ideal week in which I took a snapshot of activities that I could work on, kind of assigned to every single day, with the idea that that would keep me on task, and it would mean that most of my goals were being focused on throughout the year. I also have some non-goal information here, like the fact that on Mondays and Fridays I would like to paint my nails. I did it early this week so that way I could film this video and have the matching macaroni cheese set. That's what I think this color is. It's from Holo Taco, and I call it the macaroni and cheese nail polish. I surprisingly have worn it often though, because I've filmed with this journal before for a TikTok. I'm very glad that I have this, but like I said, it's already changed. My goals have already changed because I wrote down here that Wednesday through Sunday, I would like to write 2,000 words every single day and then take Monday and Tuesday off as my weekend. I have already changed that habit. I am now doing a ramp up week where I do 1K Wednesday, 3K Thursday, 5K Friday. I don't write on Saturday, but that's because Saturday is about content creation. And then 7K theoretically on Sundays, with Monday and Tuesday totally off. Really, truly rest days. Well, rest days, but with enriching activities. All right, now we're getting into the actual spreads. So The first category of goals that I have, I would like to say, are my 25 and 25. Not just that I have 25 goals, but the goals themselves are somehow related to the number 25. In fact, most of my goals, I have tried to create that sort of relationship. But there are some that are specifically like 25 days or 25 hours or something like that. And so what I did is I envisioned a theme around the goal itself. And then I went on Pinterest and looked up mood tracker spreads that other people had created that matched that theme. So someone once did a tree themed mood tracker, and I consider my internet free days, which is the first goal I've listed here, 25 internet free days. I consider that like my touch grass days, and I didn't want to do blades of grass. I wanted to do a tree with leaves coming off of it. This is some lovely Girly Pops mood tracker design that I have copied into my own journal. And as you can see, I have already accomplished one internet free day this year. I did it on Saturday, although as you might have seen on my ideal week, typically Mondays are going to be my internet free day. But it just worked out this week that I needed to do Saturday. And I'm very proud of myself because to get an internet free day within the first week of the year is such an improvement over last year, because I had a goal last year of getting 24 internet free days in 2024. And do you want to guess how many I got? Go ahead, give it a guess. It was one. I got one internet free day, which is actually embarrassing if you think about it. So that's why I put this goal first, because I am determined to accomplish this year. And down here in this little section, I just wrote an approved activities list. It says read, ski, color, handwrite, clean or organize, walk or drive, do yoga, or do art. And I'm sure that there are other approved activities that I will eventually think of, which is why I left a little space. And then I just wrote disconnect to reconnect down here as just a reminder of why I do the internet free days. I also do it because the internet is terrible for my mental health. I also want to do 25 ski days. This one's self-explanatory. It's a mountain, and each of these little segments is a day. And then I also gave myself some extra room here on the off chance that I managed to do more than 25 days. This design was another mood tracker that I copied, but I added the little skier, and I think it's so cute. I'm very impressed with myself for getting that human figure. I don't know if you can see it that well, but let me... Look, he's got little speed lines. He's going fast. And then, there's just some classic little motes of snow falling. And then down here, I decided just to make it even more fun, I'm not just going to track the days that I ski, but I'm going to track the mountains that I ski. And I color coded, I assigned a color to each of the mountains that are roughly near me that I think I actually have a good chance of skiing. But again, there is room for 1 to 2 more mountains just in case I randomly decide to go skiing someplace else. All right. Okay, these are 2 very tonally different spreads. I'm just now realizing, and that's okay. So 25 hours of nibbling time. My oldest sister is expecting a little girl and due in late April. And I am so excited. I'm officially becoming an aunt. I have lots of little cousins who we very much have aunt, niece, and nephew relationships, but this is like my first official nibbling, and I'm very, very excited. And very sadly, I do not live in the same state anymore as my sister, but I still want to make an effort of giving her time to herself. So this isn't just 25 hours that I want to spend in my niece's presence once she arrives. These are 25 hours that I want to basically offer to my older sister to let her go and have an adult moment, an adult hour or 2, or even maybe an overnight thing once my niece is a little older, maybe towards the end of the year. It feels kind of pitiful to only be offering 25 hours. I definitely have some guilt over that, but again, I don't live in the same state. I think this will mainly be accomplished in the summertime when my family all gets together. And I just picked little roses or tulips. I don't even know what flower I was drawing. This was not the most strategically thought out spread. And then of course I added a little bit of sun washi tape down here. Oh, that needs to be erased. Hold on, camera shaking moment. My apologies. This is the real behind the scenes. I sketch out all of these before I go over them with pen and marker and paint. So that's why there's some pencil marks still left. My apologies. this goal is I would like to do 25 hours of astronomy. I majored in astronomy in planetary science in college, and then kind of my life took a different path. I had thought I was going to get a PhD. That ended up not happening, and it's taken me a long time to really come to terms with that. But I do think that now that I am a published author and I have found success in my writing, I think it is time for me to return to this love of mine and kind of dip my toe back in and recognize that I can still be part of the scientific community even if I didn't end up going to graduate school. So I'm going to start small, 25 hours. I want to see if I can find a local chapter of like an amateur astronomy club or something like that. I know the local university that I live near does observation nights at the observatory that I used to literally work at and do classes at. So again, I don't know how that's going to feel, but I think it's an important step. And this is definitely one of the ones where it's kind of stepping outside my comfort zone. This is another mood tracker copied from a girly pop on Pinterest. Very poorly copied, I should say. Oh my gosh, hers was beautiful. The planets were all perfect and interesting. And then she had used markers, I think, to do beautiful purple and blue swirls, kind of galactic dust. And I tried to copy that, but with metallic paints, and then the purple and blue kind of mixed together in this uggo, like muddy mess. But when I do shift the book like this, you can see that it is metallic paint. And so I do think that is kind of cool, but it has a better effect on the camera than it does in real life. I mean, I have to get really extreme with the angles to show off the metallic paint. But that's what that's meant to be. It's meant to just be galaxy vibes. Obviously, I would just like to say that this is a completely non-realistic solar system. But, you know, this is a bullet journal. This is an astronomy class. All right. 25 hours of local politics. That's very self-explanatory. And also because this one, I did want to have a little bit more, not intention, that's not fair. Like, I'm not saying I'm not being intentional here, but I feel like with 25 hours of astronomy, if I go out and I stargaze or if I do astrophotography, I don't need to distinguish between the two, and I can just color in these gas giant planets as I do the thing. But with local politics, I wanted to take more note of the activity I'm specifically doing. So that's what this box is for. I've numbered it out, the hours, the activity that I was doing during that hour, and then the date in which I accomplished it. And some activities could be like just reading about local issues. I kind of want to subscribe to the local newspaper or start paying attention to local journalists and the topics that they cover. It could even be attending city council or county council meetings and understanding what's going on in this place that I've decided to call home. And then I have a little section of causes that I support. Again, these aren't big national or global scale causes I'll be focusing on. Sorry for the camera shake. It's going to be things like, you know, do I support a road expansion, or should we reduce restrictions on what homeowners are allowed to do with their houses and stuff if they are butting up against natural land and stuff like that. So that's kind of going to be the level of things that I write here. And then finally in this little thing, I just wanted to give myself a place to write down my voting dates. This is an off year. It's not midterms. It's nothing big on the national scale, but that doesn't mean there aren't going to be elections this year. I don't know, actually. Are there going to be elections this year? This is what I need to know. But I feel like first Tuesday, November every year is a day in which you're supposed to vote. And most people don't go if it's not a midterm or a president election, but I want to this year, and I want to understand what I'm going to be voting for because most likely it's going to be mostly local issues. This is a repeat of one that I had last year to complete my line-a-day journal. I want to have 125 entries. Why not 250, you ask? Because I just felt like that was absolutely not achievable for me. I mean, I know myself, I know my relationship with line-a-day journals, and actually I'm doing very well already, which, come on, it's like we're 8 days into the year. Of course, I'm still doing well with my line-a-day, but at some point later this month, or maybe in February, I'll go on a trip and I'll forget the journal, and then I'll feel stressed about all this stuff that I should write down to remember. But then I'm like, okay, well, I can't write down for today unless I also write down for the 3 days I missed, right? And so it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And so and then if we have a 250 goal on top of that, that'll add to my stress because I will feel extra stressed by the fact that I will not achieve this. So that's why this goal is lower this year. It's 125 entries. I mean, that's basically just a little over a third of the year. I feel like that's doable. And that's still a push for me because I don't think I got even 125 last year, but I don't know. I never counted because I knew I just failed. But the way that this is set up, it's set up like a little calendar for the entire year. I went through and I made sure that all these dates are aligned correctly. And then I'm just gonna circle in the days that I fill out this journal, and then at some point I guess I'll have to count them all up. All right, this is a really important goal for me this year. I mean, all of these goals are important, but this one specifically is a really important one. I really want to start diving back into philanthropy. It's a huge part of my life, and I just want to make sure that I pay special attention to it this year. Definitely last year with debuting and being so focused on the book launch and everything, I do think that my attention to the philanthropy fell to the wayside. And so I just want to make sure that I really hold myself accountable this year. We have more than just a tracker this year. We also have a place for taking notes, but this is the general tracker. It comes out to 250 squares. I also have a key where I color in what exactly I was working on when I was doing my work. So as you can see, I've already done an hour of development. I was reading a book that's philanthropy adjacent, and then I did an hour of admin work earlier this week. Oh, I'm sorry about my air conditioning. We're just gonna have to get through it. It does this every time I'm filming a video. Oh well. And then all the rest of these kind of abbreviations are organizations that I have worked with and would like to continue to partner with in my philanthropy. Over here, I have deadlines that I might need to meet, or this is also like if one of the organizations I'm working with is having a fundraiser or an event or something like that, I can write that down here, even though I don't always go to those. I have my general goals. I have space for some extra goals here. My goals are obviously to get 250 hours. I'd like to get a year ahead of my giving strategy. And then there's a conference that I might attend that's all about education, because that's what my philanthropy focuses on. I focus on education opportunities for underprivileged students. I have a place where I'm gonna write kind of what my giving goal is for the year, and then I'm gonna have a place where I can track how much has been given. I also really like, these are one of the stickers that, like a sticker sheet full of these really pretty stamp stickers. I think they're so beautiful. This is like a nice sunset. And then this is from last year, these like music playlist sticker, it's washi tape, but stickers, this thing right here. And this is from the golden hour set, because that's what my, that's what my journal was last year, was the golden hour journal. I don't know if you can see this, but it was like golden hour, but also iTunes themed. I don't know. All right. Oh, is it a Wallissimo goal video if a declutter is not involved? I don't think so. I want to declutter 250 items this year. This is the tracker for that. This is a little bonus area because I do typically declutter way more than 250 items in a year. And I try and obviously acquire fewer items in a year than I declutter, but that would be an interesting thing to keep track of. I don't know. And then similar to the philanthropy, I wanted to kind of color code what I am decluttering. And so my sections are beauty, books, clothing, hobby-related items, sentimental items. I don't suspect there will be many of those that get decluttered. Administrative items, I don't really know what that means. Maybe that's like office supplies. I don't even know. And then other. And then this box over here is recycle/donation locations in my town. I'm gonna write those down. I don't know what this box is for. I gave myself an extra box. I'm sure I had a plan for it, but I can't remember what it was for. And then I'm also doing a project pan this year. That was one of my goals last year, was to pan 24 pieces of makeup. I can show you that page in this journal. It's so intricate. This page took me forever. I literally picked all of the pieces of makeup at the end of 2023, and then I drew these all by hand. And some of them I actually did. I mean, okay, I'm gonna be so honest. I didn't so much use them up as they expired, but others I actually did use all the way up, like a perfume here and there. Instead of trying to do 24 items across the whole year, I'm just gonna do, I mean, theoretically 12, right? But one a month is the idea, and that every month I have just something that I'm actually honing in and focusing on. I'm curious to see how much makeup I actually also buy this year. I feel like it's not gonna be a lot. I really do think I have exited my makeup era. But that's famous last words. We'll see as the year goes on. It comes and goes, ebbs and flows. Hold on, I just saw some personal information on the next page, so I'm gonna cover that up really quickly. This next spread is one of the ones that's majorly outside my comfort zone. It is me refocusing on my mental health. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you will know that in 2022, I had kind of a mental health crisis that lasted almost 8 months, and it took a lot of work to get out of, and I'm very grateful to have recovered from it, but there are lingering issues that still exist because of what happened in 2022. I set a goal for myself in November that I wanted to find a therapist in 2025 and then do 25 sessions of therapy. As it so happens, I ended up finding a therapist in early December, and so that's what's written here, that was personal information. I wrote down the therapist, the practice, when my appointments occur, and then how often I go. And my main goal that I wrote down is relapse prevention and continue recovery. Again, I don't want to just relapse into that really bad mental state, because it, obviously had a horrible effect on my general health, but also was, I think, very frightening for my family. And this is a little bit of a toxic way of thinking about it, but it was terrible for my productivity. And your girlie's on deadline, so really cannot afford to have a breakdown right now. Anyway, I've been seeing my therapist since December. We've already had several sessions now. I really like her, but I've only had one session so far in 2025, and this is the kind of chart that I made. I didn't feel like I needed to go crazy in depth on every single session, but I just wanted to write down specific notes. So the first session was on the 6th of January. My objective was to discuss the notes that I had been taking that she had assigned for me, and to talk about some plain anxiety that I had experienced while traveling last week. I have a little mood in and mood out section. My mood going in was very anxious. I'd been anxious for several days. My mood going out was anxious and also tearful, because it's cathartic to talk to your therapist, and so I cried quite a bit. And then notes, my therapist had just given me a new thing to consider, kind of a new tool to put into my toolbox, and the idea of the narrative of like a false alarm, and how to kind of communicate with yourself during an anxiety attack that what you're experiencing could be a false alarm. So, and there goes the air conditioning unit. Thank you for turning off. We probably have about 10 minutes before it goes back on again. Anyway, so there are 25 of these. And then on the second page, or third page at the end, I have a post 25 sessions reflections. I'm sure I will actually see her more than 25 times this year, but I do think that's important that after a decent chunk of time spent with this therapist, I sit and consider how it's all been going. This is 25 cold emails. I had accidentally written 250, which is why I've got this one sticker right there to cover up that 0 I had written. I do not need to send 250 cold emails this year, just 25. This is another out of my comfort zone activity. And the idea here is I saw this girl on Twitter that was like, oh my gosh, I just randomly sent this tweet to a curator of a museum exhibit that I had really enjoyed the exhibit. And he responded and was so enthusiastic and thrilled that somebody had noticed his hard work, and now they've like made a formal professional relationship, and there's like collaboration between them. And I really was thinking, gosh, the world really is so open in that sense. We really can just email people when they have their emails out. And I know that for me, ever since A Dark and Secret Magic was published, I have been getting emails from readers and from other writers in my local area, and I love getting those emails. So I have to kind of set a goal for myself to send 25 cold emails this year. And similarly, this chart is set up where it's got a number for the number of the email that it was, the date at which I sent it, the recipient who received it, my reason for sending, or like the general vibe of the message, and then whether or not there was an outcome. And that's just if, the person responds, or if it leads to like a new project or any sort of event or anything like that. I'm very intrigued. I'm nervous because sending emails to strangers is frightening to me, but I'm excited to try this one out. Okay, of all the goals, this one is the most out of the comfort zone for me. I'm gonna challenge myself to go on 25 dates this year. Not necessarily with 25 different people, but just 25 dates. And no, taking myself out for a date it does not count. Katie Ann suggested that, and then I made the joke that if that was the goal, I'd finish on January 25th, because if there's one thing I love to do, it's to take myself out for a date. That's not something I need to work on. I don't know, it felt like the thing to do. I've never been on dating apps. I've never been the person who's like searching for romantic connection, but I'm curious about it. So this is the goal I've set for myself, to try it out. I don't know. It's embarrassing, but is it? I don't know. I'm gonna treat it a little bit like an experiment and just see how it goes. I have a little to-do section. Clearly, I still haven't even set up my profile. I have a little box for date idea brainstorms, and then each of these boxes is gonna describe the date itself. It's gonna say the name of the person I went with, what the date of the date was, so like, you know, January 15th, and then what we did, what we got up to. So I have no idea if a single one of these boxes will get filled out this year. It's very possible I check it out. Very possible. Oh, and then at the end of this, apparently I'm going to rate my top 10 dates, which feels a little mean, but whatever, I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to write down lessons learned. Over here, I have a specific savings goal for 2026. Yes, for 2026. I have this problem. This was something I dealt with last year, where I had a savings goal for the year and I achieved it quite early on, and I was very pleased with myself. And then as the end of the year came to a close, I ended up spending so much money because I had all this money saved, and I was like, okay, well, that's counterintuitive. So I am saying that I need to save money specifically for next year. The money that I save here cannot be spent this year. Each of these boxes represents a specific amount, and then at the end of the year, and these boxes are actually over what I know my goal amount to be. But then at the end of the year, when it is all full, I'm gonna write the total. And I'm debating, because I have already saved. I could fill in like 2 or 3 of these boxes already, but I'm debating waiting until like maybe the 4th quarter of the year to start filling in these boxes, because I am a little worried I might do that thing where I save up all this money right at the start and then spend it, and so then I don't actually achieve this goal, but on page it looks like I did. I'm gonna have to think about that one a bit. This one's very simple. I want to cook 25 new recipes in 2025. I think this is incredibly doable, especially given that the book I'm working on now, very similarly to A Dark and Secret Magic, is going to have a focus on the aesthetic of food. And so there is a lot of recipe testing that I am currently doing. I cooked way more than 24 new recipes last year, so I have no doubt in my mind that I will achieve this one, which, you know, maybe that's famous last words. Maybe that's hubris coming in right at the top of the hour, but whatever. These boxes are just little quick places for me to say that the recipe has been completed. Oh! Because that's the thing. It's not just 25 new recipes. The way that I have complicated the goal this year to make it a little bit more of a push is that not only do I have to cook 25 new recipes, but I have to post 25 times on my Wellissimo Cooks Instagram, which I'm pretty sure it's been almost a year since I posted there. So I really want to revive that. I really enjoy that Instagram account. So I want to get back to it. And the way that these boxes work, there are 25 of these. There's a little section right here that says type, and I'll write it kind of not horizontally, I'll write it vertically, where it's like if it's a salad or a soup or a dessert, and then if I can, either I'll draw it or I'll get like a tiny little photograph of maybe of my Instagram post or something and print it out and put it there. I'm gonna write down the book or the website where I pulled the recipe from, the date in which I cooked it, and then any notes that I have, and then I'll get to color in this box if I posted it to Wellissimo Cooks. And then all these pages are just extra pages for the 25 recipes. Okay, this one's very silly, and I'm gonna need you to give me grace when I explain what this one is, but it's progress towards my ultimate life goal. Now, I have many ultimate life goals, and not to be a Debbie Downer, but back in 2022, when I was going through my little minty woo-woo, my life goals felt very, very ridiculous to me. And so as part of my healing journey, I decided to come up with a completely frivolous, irrelevant, unimportant life goal that I felt would actually get me excited for the near future. You know, just get me looking ahead to even just a couple of months ahead. And I decided, again, I'm really gonna need you to give me grace right now because it is actually so ridiculous. I have a life goal of getting a massage at every Four Seasons hotel in the world. I was able to do one last year, but there are about I think there are like over 100 hotels for the Four Seasons in the world. And so obviously I need to pick up my pace. So I have a goal of doing 4 this year, specifically 1 per season because it's the Four Seasons Hotel, ha ha ha. And so I've just written down the season that I got it. Basically, I'll just write down the date, the city in which the hotel was, the service I got, and then any thoughts. And then there are 4 of those. So that's that. It's very silly. It's very luxurious and ridiculous, but I kind of want to honor the version of me that made this life goal. And you know what? I will say so many of my life goals are so all about productivity, all about like achievement and legacy and da-da-da. And I feel like it's okay to have one life goal that's a little bit more hedonistic and a little bit just about personal pleasure. These are my 2 main writing goals for the year. I want my draft of About You. That's the working title of my current work in progress. I am doing a delivery date of July 1st for that, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff happening here. I actually have a personal goal of getting the first draft done on April 1st, taking a bit of a break, and then getting a second draft done by June 15th, resting a little bit again, doing a quick edit, and then delivering on July 1st. I have rewards set up here for 15, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75, and 90K. Some of the rewards are things like, oh, I can do a little notebook therapy haul or get myself a nice piece of jewelry or something like that. I also have a tiny little square for title brainstorms because the book is not going to be called About You. Although I've said that so many times, watch that be the title. I've literally, like, again, my hubris is just going to come for me. And then this is a ramp up weeks tracker. So basically, as I said earlier in the video, I'm trying to get 1K on Wednesdays, 3K Thursdays, 5K on Fridays, and 7K on Saturdays. My cat just climbed up on here even though he knows he's not supposed to be here. You know you're not supposed to be here. I think he just wants to hang out with me. He's a sweetie pie. But yeah, hopefully, you know, if I follow with this, I will be able to stick to this schedule very easily. And then over here, this is my second writing goal of the year, and that's just that I want to have an achieved 0 draft by the end of the year of a news story. And I didn't want to create too intricate of a spread. I want to leave this a bit blank so that way in July or whenever I come to this, I can kind of start from scratch and create whatever kind of spread I think is going to best serve me for the second half of the year. This one is so interesting. I want to get a 365 streak on Duolingo this year, but here's the thing. I had a goal last year of getting a 100-day streak and I achieved that very, very quickly, and so I just kept going. I'm currently at a 343-day streak on Duolingo, and so when I say I want to get a 365-day streak, I don't need to do Duolingo every single day this year. I just need to get that streak, which means I will be finishing sometime in early February. And so these are the kind of goals to complete Duolingo 365, because here's the thing. Duolingo has such a chokehold over me, but my Spanish is not really improving that much anymore because I literally just log on to the app and like do a 10-second lesson where I like do word flashcards and then I'm done because I just want to extend my streak. And I recognize that it's not worth doing for me anymore. And that's what I wrote down here. Only do things while they are worth doing. I don't want to get to the point where I'm just literally tied down to this app for, you know, a couple of minutes every single day because I just want to keep this streak alive. It's not even about improving my Spanish anymore. It's just about the streak, which means that it's served its purpose and we have surpassed its purpose. It's no longer helpful to me. So I want to get my 365-day streak because I think that's the highest like streak reward you can get. If it's not, don't tell me, I don't want to know. Then I want to end my paid subscription because yes, I pay for Duolingo. Then I want to delete the app off of my phone and then wait at least 30 days definitively for my streak to totally reset to 0 before I'm allowed to re-download it. I might push this. I might let myself get like a 370-day streak just so there's no chance of like with time zone weirdness or whatever, me not actually end up achieving the 365 goal. But I literally do not want to get anywhere close to 380. So yeah, but that's that goal. And then this year I want to do a storm chase because I didn't mention this, but I'm hoping the 0 draft that I do work in this year is Tornado Blondes. So I'm hoping to go on a storm chase, which I thought I was being really clever here with this writing where the T is a tornado. Oh, and then I thought this was very clever where my to-do list is a tornado list, a tornado list. That's so stupid. I don't even know if you can see what I'm talking about. It's a to-do list, but it's the word tornado. Anyway, it's so dumb. Anyway, I have a really long tornado list, a to-do list, and then I have a little section of reasons to go. This is definitely an out of my comfort zone thing, but it's something I've wanted to do for so many years. I want to write down my reasons to go, so that way it's like a reminder in case I start getting nervous and I'm just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe it's too dangerous. And then I am considering going on like a tour. There are some adventure tours that like literally rent a bus and you're with storm chasers, professional storm chasers, and for like a week they take you around and you chase storms. And there's no guarantee you actually see a tornado, and I don't actually need to see a tornado. I just want to know what life on the road is like for a storm chaser. And so I'm considering that, but if that falls through, if that doesn't work out, I do have some contacts in Colorado that I got in contact with last year to get me paired up with a female storm chaser and be a ride along. And it fell through last year, but I'm gonna reintroduce myself to those people and see if we can get something going this year. And I have given myself a couple of pages, but I've clipped them together for right now because those pages on the inside are blank, and I'll fill those out when I get closer to the actual chase and I'm taking notes and everything like that. This one, self-explanatory. I want to do 100 YouTube videos this year. I have little squares representing each video, a place for me to write the title, if it's been filmed, if it's been edited, and the date in which I published it. And then inside of here, for now, I'm writing the concept, but if I'm, printing out tiny little pictures of my Instagram posts, I might also print out little pictures of my thumbnails. And oh my God, my battery's dying. Okay, we really got to get through it. We're almost done. We're almost done. We really are. This goes on for 10 pages, but I left the majority of the pages blank because just in case I get to a certain point and I'm like, oh, this setup isn't working for me anymore. That way I'm not married to it for all 100 videos and I can switch things around if I need to. This spread is a strength training spread. I have a goal of going into the gym and just testing out all of my muscle groups, my quads, my biceps, my triceps, everything, seeing what the maximum amount I can lift right now is with before hitting muscle fatigue. And then by the end of the year, increasing that by 25 pounds, which feels totally, totally doable. As you can see though, I haven't even done it yet. I haven't even written down what exercises. I just have the muscle groups. So I've got chest and triceps, back and biceps, legs, shoulders, core, and then balance is also something I want to work on. I want to increase the amount of time I can stand on each of my legs alone, and also work on standing on one leg with my eyes closed, because that's a really, really big one. Obviously, I have the start date. I'm going to write down the exercise itself and then the reps that I do and the weight at which I do it. And then I will repeat. Theoretically, I'll start going to the gym a couple times a week to build strength, and then I will retake note of my progress on April 1st, on July 1st, on October 1st, and then at the end of the year. Woo, we're really going through it. I want to travel to 3 national parks this year. This was a goal I had last year. I just wanted to travel to 1 national park, and I didn't. I went to Rocky Mountain National Park several times, but not a new national park. So I've upped the ante this year. I do have a national park pass, so I'm really hoping I get it done. And I think I've got a good shot out of it because I've already got a trip planned to Joshua Tree this year, and I'm going to Santa Fe at some point. So I'm hoping, I don't know if there's a national park in the San Cristo Mountains, but I feel like there would be. And there's still a lot of pencil in here because I didn't want to commit myself to any specific type of spread. But the general idea is that here I will put the name of the national park, the dates I traveled there, the general itinerary, or the things that I did there, like if we went on a hike or if it's like a water national park and we went kayaking or something, the highlight of the trip, the color palette of the national park I feel like is a fun little touch, and then a photo of that was taken while I was there. Oh, this is kind of not a secret project, but it's just not one that I'm fully announcing yet, but I have a new Instagram that I want to set up. So this is my initial setup sheet, and then I have an extra open spread for additional notes. But I have a little box for the general concept, box for the color palette, the brand palette, the title brainstorm of what the Instagram is going to be called, collaborators, and genre. I plan on having a lot of people helping with this Instagram, and genre I will just let you wonder about. And then logos, I'm hoping I can get Malin to help me with making the logos for this new Instagram, and then just a very, very long to-do list. And then finally, I have this anatomy coloring book. I can show it right here. I have it here. We prepped, but gosh, do we have the time? I have this thing. I was coloring with all the girly pops at the Ohio writing retreat, and I realized I was coloring a Pride and Prejudice coloring book, and I was like, ugh, I'm maybe not a coloring person. So I got home and I decided to declutter all my coloring books, but then I got to this one. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll keep this one because this one's like also kind of educational. It feels enriching to me. And sorry to anybody with body, like muscular, like fear or anything like that, organs fear, but this is literally basically a study guide for anatomy, but you color the whole time. And I basically want to get all the way through this, and it's 170 different spreads, and these are all the sections, like the big sections, you know, like skeletal muscular system, cardiovascular, reproductive, immune system, etc., etc. I'm just going to color them in while I finish them, and then once an entire section is finished, I'll just highlight it to indicate that it's finished. And then this is a little spread for any notes, and I believe that is the final of the pages in here. But as you will see down here, there are 2 more goals that I have for the year. One I'm going to talk about with you face to face because my battery's about to die and I want to show off this thing because it's super fun. And then the final one is to complete my reading journal, which if you want to have the in-depth explanation of that goal, I highly recommend going and watching my reading journal setup video, or like flip through video, which I uploaded last week. And that is it for now. That is the Sunlit Mystery 2025 25 goals for 2025 journal setup. I'm gonna send it back to face Wallace. And there you have it. That is my journal for the year. But I do want to go over that one final goal, which is to have a book from Artifact Uprising. Well, specifically, my goal is to make a 2025 year in review yearbook, and I'm going to do this through the company Artifact Uprising. I first came across this company when it was mentioned in a Hannah Louise Poston video. I love her videos. She's a makeup beauty YouTuber, but she also does a lot about conscious consumerism and in general just finding extremely high quality, well-made products. And she put me onto the website Artifact Uprising, which is a place where you can design and order your own super high quality annual review yearbook. And the reason that I wanted to do this was because I take all these pictures throughout the year and then they just sit in my cloud, never to be reviewed, never to be utilized for their keepsake element. I almost never went back and looked at old photos unless it was under the guise of decluttering, doing a digital declutter sort of thing. But 2024 was my first year in which I went through and I curated my favorite 100 or so pictures from the year and made myself a yearbook. And I plan on doing so in 2025 as well. This is my yearbook from Artifact Uprising for 2024. It's in the olive green color just because that's really a color that I'm connecting with. It's also a color that matches my book's cover, and I had custom made on the front. It just says WRK, those are my initials, yearbook 2024, as well as a 2024 in gold foiling on the side. And then these are just some of the pictures that I took this year that I wanted to remember. At the start of last year, I went on a trip to Thailand, and I have a picture of some of the temples and some women in traditional dress. We had babies being born. Oh, this is a classic, a full layout of one of my author photograph moments. Hello. This is my official author portrait, in case you were curious. I have a whole video in which I react to all these photos because hiring a photographer to take my author pictures, biggest slay of last year. That and making the USA Today bestseller list. My sister got married, I saw the Northern Lights, I turned 30. So I'm just so glad that I have this. I really am hoping to do this every single year, maybe pick a different color every year just to change things up. But overall, I can't wait for when I'm in my 40s and I just have an entire bookshelf all in a row of all these fabulous pictures. And I'm so, so excited for that. That is my 25th and final goal of the year. If you've made it this far into this extremely long video, go ahead and leave me a little journal or book emoji and write down in the comments what your top goals are for the year. Are you the kind of person that sets multiple resolutions or just one and you try and really focus on that one? Either way, let me know what your goals are. As I've mentioned multiple times now this video, one of my goals is to upload 100 videos this year. So hopefully you will see me with another video very soon. But until then, go be happy, go be healthy, and go write. Bye.